So the first step is removal of a climate control unit. We use this trim tool with a thin edge on it. We try and aim for the centre, just pop it out like that at each side. So the next step is we've got the climate control unit out, and there's these small red clips on each connector which retain the plugs. So we just want to take a small flathead screwdriver, you can see I've got this one out already, and we just carefully, again making sure you're not scratching anything, lever like so, making sure the wires aren't trapped. So we'll go around and do all three. With the climate control removed, there's an 8mm bolt under here, which is now exposed. Now we're going to take our socket set and remove that. This bolt holds in the multimedia unit above here. So we'll take that out. So I'm just removing this 8mm bolt, which secures the multimedia unit. There it is. I'm going to keep it safely in here. So one thing to be aware in an automatic A6 or A7, to get the multimedia unit out, you will need to put the gear selector into neutral, just to give you enough space to get the unit out, because otherwise it hits against the gear stick. I also recommend putting a cloth over the gear stick to avoid damaging it. So underneath the multimedia unit there's sometimes a line of buttons. These connectors are all plugged in. There's a small plug here with small clip connectors, so before you can take it any further, you have to remove these in order to get to them. On this particular model, there's only two. So now we've completely removed all the connectors to the head unit. We've got the main quad lock here, we've got the most optical connection, and we've got the various aerial screen, DAB aerial cables. So that's all free, but it is held in place by this little cable tie at the side here. So we've now got our CarPlay box connected. What we've done, this is the original factory quad lock connector here. This that I'm holding in my hands right now is a CarPlay power loom. You see power goes from here to the CarPlay box. So behind the multimedia unit, what we do, we plug this in line with the original quad lock. So as you can see, the original quad lock ends there, and the new quad lock piggybacks on and goes into the back of the radio. Now the next connection we need to make is for the LVDS. So with the CarPlay kit, you will receive like a Y-shaped LVDS connector, you see. Now this is the original LVDS video cable that was plugged into the back of the stereo. As you can see, I plugged it into this, so the signal is passed into the CarPlay box, connects there, then comes out, and then this one connects to the back of the stereo. I'll show you how I do that. Just as the original, just literally make sure it's lined up and pop it in like that. So those are the CarPlay specific connections on the back of a multimedia unit. Now depending on how your car is equipped is how many of these other ancillary connectors you have. Obviously reconnect everything apart from the LVDS as it was before, because the LVDS has this new cable in there, but everything will just go back. It's all color coded, it's quite easy to put back. How I routed the box. So this is a right hand drive car, but you can what I did was there's a little hole, it's quite hard to see in here, but there's a little gap for the metal frame, so when you put the multimedia unit in, you can just run the wires through. So you need to run your CarPlay wires through and then tuck the quad lock connector up into the aperture in the back. It's very tight on this car, it's very tight, but it is possible. And as you can see there, it's back in. I haven't tightened the bolt yet, but it's ready to go back in. So your CarPlay unit, I've removed the glove box here, and that's just 6 or 8 bolts, depending on your spec of car. Just 10mm just bolts, just use a small socket set. And now you can see I'm going to stash a CarPlay box just in this little chasm here, and where it will fit perfectly. And then just put the glove box back up, and then finally run the USB cable, and you should be good to go. So I've just wrapped these connectors in a little bit of insulation tape, just wrap them in this insulation tape just to make sure that there's no interference, or there are any video cables, but don't really like to have metal on metal contact. As you can see, that's all quite happy up in there. The glove box is going to fit back on. It's just the inside of the glove box. So once we've made the connections behind the multimedia unit, we've then just got one more connection to make behind the climate control. As you can see, that's the original large climate control connector, and this is our pass-through cable coming from the CarPlay loom. So this plugs into the end to the climate control unit, and the other end is where you plug the factory plug, and then this runs to the rest of the CarPlay wiring, this little wire. So again, it's just plug and play, plugs in line, and then you just plug that in, and obviously re-plug your climate control connectors.